it's going to be a pretty, if you didn't get it from the intro, it's going to be a pretty trials-heavy episode this week, because that's what most Slog focuses on. We'll have our chain that will be applied, or that will apply to the hotfix today, will be about. And of course, I really want to talk about loot and everything like that. I've gotten time to actually experience trials instead of just doing 4 or 5 matches real quick before the Tuesday morning reset with Colonel Panic. So I guess let's start there. Before we jump into the swap, I guess let's start there. Okay. So, Corey, you played a lot of Trials the first weekend.
Yes.
I played a lot the second weekend.
Yes.
Of course, I was gone the first weekend, bemoaning that I was missing Trials and hearing from all my friends how awesome it was.
Oh, but you tried to play some PvP with that Backbone.
I did promise a Backbone update. I tried to play some regular Crucible on it. It did not go well for me, so I didn't even bother booting up Trials. I didn't want to get hate mail from my teammates, and the game was clearly only running in 30 frames.
Yeah. Oh, really?
It was lagging pretty bad, man. For me at least. I had 5G and everything, but I tried playing it both on Wi-Fi and on cellular, and I usually experience dips when I play on cellular, but for some reason the Wi-Fi was even worse.
To be fair,
it's a resort.
To be fair, Disney's Wi-Fi is not very good.
It's better than it was, because I was able to stream video really consistently without any issues, and that's never happened. So I was happy about that, but no, I played some Psychonauts with the Backbone. Mostly, I did some strikes, did some regular old gunsmith, some planetary expeditions. Did an astral alignment. It's good, but I think my fingers are too cramped up there to properly play an FPS on the go. Just because I need to be able to access my buttons and triggers. Now, I do think that cloud gaming is perfectly fine if you have a controller or if you have a phone mount for your controller. I would probably have played a lot more. I probably would have played some Trials then. Or if I was playing like on a tablet or something like that, or on my laptop, something like that, I definitely would have played a bit more. I joked when we were going on vacation at Christmas. It's like, do you think that my family would get upset if I packed the Series S and took it with us because the anniversary event's going to be going on? Halo will just come out, and I really want to play both of those on vacation. And my girlfriend just stared at me until I relented and said, never mind, I'll leave it at home. So we're gonna see if I can slip it into my backpack without her noticing until we get through airport security. See just how much trouble I get in. But cloud gaming, we're getting the Series X server blade update has been deployed. You can definitely see the changes in it. I didn't really notice it in Destiny, and I think it's because I had a really wonky connection. It has definitely run smoother at my house on my Wi-Fi. I will say that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like the worst experience I've ever had. I definitely have had worse. Such as when the browser experience first came out, and I did it on my MacBook that's like 10 years old, and it was really bad. It's like a night and day difference compared to how it used to be.
Yeah, the only thing I really do with, because I do some cloud gaming stuff, especially if I'm home with the kids or whatever, and they're my daughter likes to watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and whatever. So sometimes I'll just plug my controller into my laptop and play the cloud gaming stuff through the browser, and it's definitely better, but I definitely usually only do the gunsmith bounties and some strikes or something. It's not like I'm going out there and trying to do some competitive PvP or raiding or anything through cloud gaming at all. I still feel like it needs a little bit of work. It's definitely laggy. It's definitely, you can tell, but
I don't know. We're all kind of going on this pioneering journey together, I guess. I'll be a lot happier when I can just access my actual own games through cloud gaming and not just my Game Pass library.
Yeah.
Because I see things like today, the Castlevania Advance Collection got announced, and I'm like, where am I going to buy this? The most logical place for me would be, I'm probably going to wait and buy it on Xbox, because not only do I want to play those on a little bit of a bigger screen than my Switch, but it's weird. If it ever goes to on the go, I would rather be able to play the Xbox version of a game than a Switch version.
Right.
just for whatever reason. Like, I do genuinely like the Backbone controller a lot. I really do. I mentioned that I played some Psychonauts, played a little bit of the Ascent. That didn't respond as well. I think like twin stick games are a little bit rough with it. Definitely played Tetris Effect and Luminous on it, and it was fantastic. It's fantastic. I really like it for those types of games and for indies. I don't know. I'll use it a lot more. Like, it's gonna fulfill the function my Switch used to, which is that's how I played a lot of my indie games when the Switch first came out. That's why I would play in bed with my Switch.
Yeah.
Now it's gonna be, well, I'm just gonna pop my phone into my Backbone for a half hour.
It definitely the Switch has definitely kind of taken a back seat for me. Like, and
I mean, I said this. I said it yesterday, and it's like not to gripe about my Switch, but it's kind of gathered a really thick layer of dust for me since Animal Crossing. I skipped Paper Mario last year, just, trying to watch money. We were moving at the time, and I'll get to it eventually. But there's been nothing this year, like, short of Skyward Sword that I wanted to play, and even that, like, I'm not paying $50 for a port just on principle.
Yeah.
I am getting Metroid, but Metroid will be my one and only purchase this year. Like, if I don't buy Castlevania digitally, Metroid will literally be the one thing I buy this year.
Yeah.
I've just kind of shifted to the point where, like, I'm going to have it like I do my PS5 for exclusives that I want to play. But it is far and away the least used console in my house is my Switch.
Yeah. And, like, part of that is, like, I mean, I used to run a Nintendo podcast. It's still going, and I'm still on it once in a while.
Right.
But I don't know if it has something to do with that or just, like, I don't want to say I've outgrown Nintendo, but, like, I just, like, I've found myself shifting more towards Xbox, and like you, like, my Switch has become my exclusive box that I'll play Zelda and I'll probably play Metroid and whatever other else first party game interests me. I used to play indies there, but now with Game Pass, them coming to Game Pass and the cloud stuff and it seeming to work more often than not, it's like I've kind of shifted away from the Switch, and it's like, well, I guess it just happens. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, to be honest with you.
Right. I mean, they're kind of moving back to Trials a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I mean, well, I promised that we would talk about the Backbone. We didn't get to it last week. We had a lot of stuff to talk about. I like a lot of the changes that have been made to Trials. Like I said, I think the matchmaking is great. This past weekend, we had a bit of an experiment. They changed some stuff up to where if you went flawless, you automatically got put into another matchmaking pool, which immediately top PvPers, even a couple of my friends decried it. And we're like, oh, this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's going to be hard to farm loot. It's going to be hard for people to do carries or to play with their friends. And I don't disagree with that, but I do think that having a flawless pool did make it a little bit easier for myself to go flawless on Saturday.
Right.
Because those players, I never encountered one person who had the flawless title.
Right, because if you go flawless, you get put into a separate
outside
pool,
of
right?
Friday afternoon, I experienced nothing all weekend.
Right.
I did see a lot of unbrokens. I saw people who would have the flawless emblem, or the 7-win emblem, but I never saw people with the flawless title or like double gilded flawless like I usually do in the first round. And I had one really bad beatdown, and that was it. After that is when I went on my 7-0 run. I think that it's definitely more balanced than it has been. I've seen, and I want to share some feedback that I've gotten, both from people that we play and just things I observed. I don't think Vex is as dominant in a 3v3 mode running head on with it as we like to think that it is. For me, the success I was getting when I was using Mythoclast was flanking, catching them unaware and then just pelting them. Because, I mean, Vex is very on its own, don't get me wrong, but its real power comes when you get those 2 kills and you can switch it to linear mode. If you're doing that in Trials, you're probably part of a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 at that point. Like, a lot of things are going to help you, not just Vex.
Right.
The Hunter Shatter Dive ability is absolutely, completely, and totally OP. It's still been a problem in, like, regular Crucible, but that's just about all any hunter I saw was using was stasis, and I can't blame them. I mean, it just locks down a whole chunk of the map, especially on a bigger map. You can use it to kind of funnel the enemy to a location that you want. And that's what we were doing. My buddy Matt would lay down Wither Horde, and I would come in from the side either with a freezing grenade or with Vex and just wipe them out in the hallway on Shores of Time. Most of what I saw this weekend, and I mean they were the top two weapons according to Trials report that people used were Vex and Messenger, and that's the exact combo I went with. Vex Messenger. Reeds regretted my heavy slot and Stasis Hunter. It's like I don't know. Like I think that you can play pretty much with what you want to for the first few matches. I think when you start getting towards the end, I'm not saying you have to go with the meta stuff, but you definitely have to go with things that you are familiar with and you can come up with a game plan. Like, I think if you're going to the Lighthouse now and you're doing it solo, that's extremely impressive. Like, I found that for me, if I was in a 3-stack, I wasn't having a whole lot of luck. If I was going solo, I was having some luck. I would get to like 4 or 5 wins and then it would fall apart. Going in as a duo, though, I mean, I made it to Game 7 3 separate times. One time with Nerd Generalist, we fell at the gate. He literally, fell at the gates. We were 4-4 in the final round, and the other team had 2 supers, so it was over. Had used my Mercy with a buddy. We had gotten to the 7th game. Same thing happened. And then the last time, I mean, it was just dominant. We 5-0. 5-0 in Game 7. And it's just, you start getting into a cadence. Like, if you have the hot hand, just, like, keep matchmaking. Don't get out. Don't take a break for anything. Just keep going.
Right.
I think that having God rolls is a good thing. Like, I say this specifically for Messenger. Like, having the God roll is great. Outlaw Desperado, fantastic. I have Rapid Hit 1 for all on mine. And let me tell you something. It may not be the greatest PvP roll, but there were still plenty of matches where I was dropping all 3. Like, very rapidly, too. Like, I was quickly dropping all 3 with those, or that and a combination of Vex if somebody else is coming in from the side. I sniped a little bit. I tried using Eye of Soul a few times.
Ooh. Look at you. Pro gamer.
No, right? Trying to change up my tactics a little bit.
Josh Finney, flawless pro gamer here.
Flawless pro gamer. That's right. I
new nickname for next episode.
Chair. I was sitting back in my recliner. I put the footrest down for Game 7. No, I think that along with a lot of the sandbox changes, is probably, I would say, outside of the fusion rifles, this is probably the closest to balance we've ever had the sandbox. Like, last season definitely was. Fusion rifles are obviously dominant. Saw a lot of main ingredient this weekend since Zer was selling a good roll. Saw a fair amount of Jotuns in there. Some Telesto. It just seemed like the secret sauce for us was Wither Horde. And it's not going to work like that on every map. You got to change your tactics week to week.
Right.
I am interested to see what this week brings because they have announced a change already.
Side tangent.
Go ahead.
Side tangent.
Yeah,
Did you see all the people like who were jumping into trials for the first time and they were like, why are we playing the same map? Like, a bunch of people who had never done trials before didn't understand that, like, it's one map the entire weekend. It was cute.
I saw it. It's like, oh, my sweet summer child. One of the things that I suggested upon going flawless, even because I felt bad that I went flawless with my buddy Matt, and I had been trying to go flawless earlier in the day. Like I said, got all the way to Game 7, fell at the gates. The game made sure to tell us multiple times. I would have loved to have been able to run a card with him Sunday morning before reset, for instance, even though I'd already gone flawless. And I think, like, the suggestion that Bungie is going to implement this weekend is a suggestion that I was making over the weekend, that I don't think the flawless pool needs to go away completely. And I stand by that. Right now, I stand by that. We have 1 weekend of data. We don't have enough data to go off of it yet. And we're going to get in some of the numbers in the TWAB. But one of the things that they're going to do is they are still going to keep the flawless pool. And they're going to do it starting at Sunday at reset, though, for like the last 2 full days of trials. So the first 2, run as many cards as you want, reset, things like that. I think that this is a healthy compromise, because I do think you need to do it at some point, because it will give those people who need that little bit of extra boost time to get over, I think. And I think that gives us Friday evening, that gives us all day Saturday, gives us Sunday morning to run extra cards, run with our friends, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think really one of my only complaints about trials at the current time is I do think they need to figure that out. And they're going into detail in that in the TWAB, which I'm going to be happy to address here in just a second. I think trials rep is really bizarrely earned.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly to incentivize you. This is what they meant by it. They're trying to incentivize you to not reset, right? Like, and unless you're trying to go flawless, there really is no point in resetting your card unless you like need to go flawless or want to. Because you get 5 points of rep per round per win. So if you have a stack of 20 wins, that means at the end of each match you're going to get 100. Mm-hmm. Because regardless, you're going to get 100. I think that needs to be drastically increased, because when you get to those mythic ranks, that's going to be a nightmare to grind out that much for a reset or for a Trials Ingram.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be pretty rough. But I think that's really one of my only major complaints in Trials right now. They've addressed a lot of things already. Today's hotfix, for instance, I'm looking at this. Special ammo will no longer refresh when you're rezzed. So if you use both your shotgun shots and you died, that's it. Mm-hmm. It's gone.
Yeah.
You got counter sniped. You missed both your shots and then you got sniped. Your buddy in the back can't res you and you pop the sniper again. That's not how it's going to work.
Right.
And then there was an issue with anything you got out of the Trials Ingram rank rewards. You couldn't